It is our weekly visit with our guy Adam Terry here. Monday, Holy Cross in the rear view. UNLV rapidly approaching this Friday night out in Vegas. And Adam, I don't know what you felt. Weird game on Saturday. It's one where you look at the final score, you win by 28. It was never really in doubt, but at the same time, there were certainly a lot of ragged areas on Saturday. What were your main takeaways looking back at that one?
Yeah, at the end, you're excited about a victory, and that's why you go into the game. But there were points in time throughout the game where you could have put a game away, and I think this is a learning point of when you have the ability to put a team away, you got to put them away. And you go up and you're doing okay, and then you know that in a game like this, they're not going to be able to line up and knock you off the ball every play, so they're going to have to bring some form or fashion of trick play in there in order to get it done, and that's what occurred. So at the end of the day, you're extremely excited and happy with the outcome, but there were some things in there that you, as a player, as a coach, as that, like, you're going to walk away and be like, man, why'd we do that? Like, some things just weren't going right, and it should have been a lot cleaner. So I think that was my biggest takeaway, is it should have been cleaner. And in the world of the Fran Brown era, where we're talking about Dart, I think there were some detail that was left out, and it allowed for people to sit back and be like, oh, are they as good as we think they could be? And, that's the thing that aggravates me the most is, you could have put them away early and really left a decisive victory in the view of everybody, and you move forward into a week that you've got a good UNLV team that is ready for, they're on stage. They were on stage for something that they didn't want to be put on stage for with the quarterback situation, but then they've rectified that with Malik Williams, and he seems to be a good ball player. And, oh, by the way, he can run the football as well.
Yeah, UNLV, they're set up in many ways. National story being good for it's the biggest moment in the history of their program. If you look at what they got coming here over the course of the next couple months, potentially, anyways. We'll get to them in a second. And you're right. Hey, it's 21-0. The game is over. Then all of a sudden it's not. Then it drags on. It's the second or third quarter. I don't know. My main takeaways here is, right, we're still waiting. All right, what are we going to see from the running game? When will we see the O-line get pushed? Where, I don't know, maybe it's finally occurred to me. They've been telling us this, I guess, for a month. Like, this is a pass-first football team, right? I don't think there's any debate about that, I guess, at this point anymore.
Yeah, it's tough, and it's especially tough if you're going to have those guys pass set 50, 60 times a game.
Yeah.
And I understand what's open, and you could see that, there was a mismatch on the perimeter with our personnel versus their personnel. But also, with that being said, our personnel on the offensive line wasn't as decisive, and it wasn't what I anticipated. So, a couple sacks. You're giving up 4 or 5 sacks to Holy Cross. That's mind-blowing to me. So, it's back to the drawing board in the sense of that's why you practice. That's why you go out there every week and go and do it. But now it's going to be on a much larger scale and against better personnel coming out of a week that really, in my eyes, should have been, put them away early, get everybody else in and let them participate. And, we'll give out participation trophies at the end of a Holy Cross game. Instead, it became a little bit tighter than what most would have liked to see.
Yeah, McCord throws 50 passes in the game, and literally a top 10 volume in passes in a single game in school history. Fran talked about that a little earlier today, Adam, at his press conference. It's like, well, a lot of that is run pass option, right? And he's making the decisions based on what the defense is giving him. I just wonder, right, in Holy Cross, like, should you remove the option, right, and just run the ball a little bit because that's who you're playing, or is it, heck, McCord's our guy, we sling it around against whoever's on the other side?
Well, I think when you're going into a situation and it's a heavy RPO, the RPO is dictated by whether that is first level read, second level read, how many guys are in the box. There's a myriad of different ways that the RPO can kind of tease its way out. And, the good thing is if it's given to you and you take it and it's successful, that's the objective with it. The hard part about it is they were willing to load the box up a little bit and give the opportunity to throw the football. For Syracuse, we would have loved to have seen the football run more often and more effective, but that wasn't the case. And the Kyle McCord era of throwing it around is here. They've got to be able to do that. And if you're going to throw it around, you've got to be able to block it up.
Yeah, I say the good side of the throwing it all over the lot here is we've seen a wide variety of targets, right? Jackson Meeks has a career game. Darrell Gill gets elevated here the last couple of games, and he has another nice game. Amari Hatcher has a couple of big plays in the game, and this without a lot from Arande Gadsden, with Zede Haynes still absent from the team right now. What are you seeing from McCord? Volume of weapons that maybe we haven't seen in a while on the perimeter, and his ability at least to distribute to the right guys in the right situation.
I mean, he's an A-plus signal caller. He's a trigger puller. He's a guy that, when in the right situation with the ability to not have a lot in front of him, he is a top 10, top 25 quarterback in the country.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's the real deal. He's the best passing quarterback that we've seen in a long time at Syracuse, if not ever. And he's going to put up those numbers. The reality is he was taking some hits by Holy Cross players late after, the ball's released. He's kind of getting bumped. Like, that's an opportunity. That's a level of pride factor for the offensive line that does not occur. You don't allow somebody to kind of take a late pop or, hit somebody late, anything along the lines like that. That's what you want to stay away from. And that's just a matter of pride on that offensive line. And it seemed as though we were a little bit banged up. So, is it part of, are they doing a good job, or are they doing a very good job considering a couple guys might be banged up more than we understand? So that's always the tough part about it is we don't know the medical of what's going on, but, when you see Sabian Washington come out of the game and you see Weatherspoon come out of the game and you also see Big General Reed come out of the game, that's a little bit concerning because those are three pivotal pieces on the offensive line. And it didn't seem as though it was because of lack of effort or anything like that. It seemed as though they got banged up a little bit and came out of the game. And you see a Josh Iloa going in and the rotation of Enrique Cruz going in. So, it's good to have some depth, but it's also you want your starters out there for the whole season.
Yeah, and that's one where, heck, we look at what has submarine Syracuse football, right? In the years where it's gone wrong recently, it's been the O-line gets banged up, and then because of it, the quarterback gets banged up, and then November happens, which is the main thing you want to try to avoid here this season for sure. As we got Adam Terry with us, our weekly Monday visit. That said, here we are. It's a month into Fran Brown now. We're a third of the way into this season. Adam, it's kind of been a weird little roller coaster here, right? The Georgia Tech win, the surprise of the Stanford loss, whatever we got from last week's performance. How would you evaluate a month here in the books for Fran?
I think it's phenomenal, right? The fan base is still involved with it. He's doing a heck of a job. You can just tell we're doing better in the recruiting game by walking down on the sideline, and you get to see, I'm not looking down at an offensive tackle anymore. Some of them I'm looking eye to eye to. So, when you're looking at the size game, we've gotten bigger on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, and that's going to take a little bit of time because you have to develop some of those athletes. In the wide receiver, skill position, DB, like we're getting better each week. And when I mean better each week, I think we're getting depth at the position internally, but also externally with the recruiting of high school kids. And this is without the portal open right now. I think we're doing a great job of recruiting. So first and foremost, you have to make sure that the ingredients are in the cupboard, right? And then you have to find what are those recipes that are really going to work for those ingredients. And right now, I think we are a heavier pass game. I think we are a little bit more of being deep and having the ability in the secondary opposed to up front. You know, there wasn't a huge pass rush up front. Later on, it became a bigger pass rush, but we'll see what that is long term. But overall, when you walk away from it, you're 3-1 going into a critical stretch of the season. You'd love to be 4-0. That didn't happen. So you're 3-1, and now you can go out and be about it.
UNLV is the opponent Friday, Adam, and man, I mean, in many ways, they're potentially here having the best season literally in the history of the program. And they just went through all this Matt Sluka stuff last week, and as you said, they changed to Haj Malik Williams. It looked fantastic when they blew out Fresno State on Saturday. What did that performance tell you about this UNLV team? Because, you know, the Sluka stuff, right, that can blow up a locker room. That can do crazy stuff. The fact that they responded that way so quickly on Saturday must tell you something about Vegas.
Yeah, it's a good football team, right? They're in the top 25. They're getting a lot of votes to push them up and push them around. As far as what that goes, it's a very exciting time for them. And, you know, offensively and defensively, the coordinators can dial it up. You know, you look at the capability of the roster that they have. I think we still have a better roster, but they're dialing it up pretty well and getting into situations that are successful for their players. So, you know, now the question is have they really played a high level caliber of team? I mean, Kansas was in the top 25. They're no longer in there. They've been bounced out. They had a very successful first week against Houston, but, you know, Utah Tech 72-14 and hanging it on them. So, you know, you don't want to call into question who they're playing, but who they've played right now, they've done a very good job against, and now it's what Syracuse team shows up. Are they dialed in? Are they ready to go? We're going out there much earlier, so this is a different trip for most, right? Like, you know, you're usually going 24 hours before a game. You're getting in, you're getting out. This is, you know, you're leaving on a Wednesday. You're crossing time zones, so you're arriving, I think, in the vicinity of like 4 or 5 Pacific, and now you've got to get ready to go. And you got a day in between. Is everybody dialed in the day between? Like, that's between an NFL and a college thing. I've seen guys not be dialed in, and that's not going crazy and trying to do different things. But, you know, when you're relaxed a little bit and you have an extra day, sometimes you lose that focus.
Yeah, it's been a decade, I think. It was when Marone was the head coach. The last time they would have gone out west, they played USC one year, and they played Washington, I think it was a year or 2 years after that, and did the, you know, leave Thursday, play Saturday thing, and both of those turned out to be road losses, and then extremely long and late arriving flight homes after. I mean, this is... You know, it's 9 o'clock Eastern time Friday night. You know, how does that affect you when you do trips like this, Adam? You talked about the other way for Stanford, how, you know, it's not late at night, right, because of the way they're going. But for Syracuse, when it's, you know, body clock late night, or is this college kids? Who cares when it's that time of night on Friday?
No, I think you're going to adjust to it. The biggest thing is this return flight home, right? You're now in a situation where you're basically taking a red eye. You know, and I don't know how many guys are going to get some quality sleep on the plane. I sure as heck not. I don't sleep well on a plane. So, you know, you're going to get beat up, and realistically, it's almost like playing a Saturday game, because by the time you recover, it is Sunday. So we're not gaining an extra day from rest and recovery per se. But, you know, it's difficult. My trip in college, we did BYU, and, you know, we took a loss there, and it was tougher as you try to come back and you recover. I mean, this is a turnaround that you're going from playing UNLV on a Friday night, you're really getting in on a Saturday morning, and then you're right back at it the next week on the road to NC State. So, you know, this is a 2 critical game window for Syracuse, and to have the opportunity, if you come out of this 2-0, you're in a pretty good spot in the ACC and pretty good spot nationally. So, you know, you're looking forward to it. You're excited about it. It's just a matter of you have some more variables in that you have all year, and this is a different crew. And people are like, oh, you keep referencing it. I was like, I'm still learning people's names. I'm still learning people's numbers. And it's just one of those where, you're looking at a DB that you didn't think was going to play this year, and all of a sudden they're in the lineup, and you're going, oh, okay, yeah, I remember. Where's he from? Okay, I'm dialed in. But that's the same thing for a player. Hey, I remember this play. Now I'm in the game. It's a little bit different.
It's amazing how many new names and faces there are around this year. It's crazy. And if I'm doing the math right, you're right, Adam. The travel back, what do you need to give back? Like 10, 11 Saturday morning or something wild like that. If I'm mathing it out right, so it's going to be a schloid on the way back. That's for sure. But safe travels. Hopefully, maybe you find a blackjack table or something out there with some downtime, and we'll do it again next Monday. All right.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what we get into next week. We'll keep it brief, and I'll foreshadow it for next week. Hopefully, I do something fun.
Okay, there we go. Our guy Adam Terry, as he